Welcome inside Shore Lanes in St. Clair Shores, Michigan for the finals of the St. Clair Shores Classic. Tonight's opening match is a who's who in women's bowling between four-time Player of the Year Wendy Macpherson, U.S. Open and Queens champion Kim Terrell, and reigning Player of the Year Carolyn Dorin Ballard. The winner of that shootout will face last week's runner-up Kim Adler, and the survivor there will challenge the powerful Feldman for the title. Hello, everyone. I'm Jan Schmidt, along with PWBA champion Kathy Dorin Lizzie. Thanks for joining us. Kathy, last week, Dr. Dean Hinnans talked to us about the importance of the mental game, and this week it proved to be enormous for two of our finalists. For Kim Terrell, we've watched her progress in her mental outlook over the last several events.
Well, Jan, Kim Terrell has always been one of the most consistent and talented players on tour. She's taken her mental game to the next level, and what a level it has been for her. She totally commits herself to each and every shot, and regardless of the outcome, she accepts her performance and goes on. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Kim left tonight with yet another trophy.
Well, Feldman might have something to say about that. She's our top seed tonight, but I would bet that under the same scenario a year ago, she would not have been top seed.
Well, because this young lady does something physically nobody else can do, Michelle seems to come in and wants to do what's comfortable for her instead of what's right. Some conditions are challenging, and they say, oh my God, I can't hook the ball 39 boards. This week, Michelle allowed herself to be mentally flexible, drilling a ball she would have never considered drilling before, throwing that ball with such confidence. She moved herself from 7th to being tournament leader tonight. Jan, Michelle is now physically and mentally ready to win title number 9.
You think it'll be tonight?
I don't know. She's got a tough field, but I wouldn't put it past her.
Well, we'll wait and see. Right now, we'll pick up the opening match already in progress. Wendy Macpherson right now through 4 frames in the lead by 2 pins over Kim Terrell and by 11 pins over Carolyn Dorin Ballard. Carolyn Dorin Ballard stepping up in the 5th frame. She struck twice on the left lane and has been light both times on the right lane.
That was a great shot.
She seems to have the left lane down, Kathy.
That seemed to be very consistent all week. One lane versus the other lane. It wasn't just pair to pair where they seemed different. They seemed different lane to lane.
Kim Terrell coming off of those 2 major titles, that U.S. Open back in December and then the WIBC Queens last week. And in a split for Kim, she was in the pocket on the left lane. Also, actually, she's been struggling on both lanes the last few shots. Wendy Macpherson, meanwhile, has been in the pocket every shot.
She's bowled an awesome game.
But hasn't carried. 1 strike only, left a 4-pin, left a 9-pin. But she appears to be lined up.
Now, Kim, you can see she got it out a little too far to the right. And all week you had to get it right, but it was the way you got it right. It seems she pushed it a little to the right, and that's why she left the 2, 4, 8, 10.
Oh,
makeable, but tough.
That was close. She gave that one a run.
And she got the wood, and that's important.
Our first look this year at Carolyn Dorin Ballard after that tremendous year last year. Incredible year. 18 shows.
When you look at her stats, last year she started the year with 10 titles. She now has 17. I mean, that number just changed every week. 7
titles. Amazing in one season, tying a record. She actually tied or broke 11 PWBA records last year.
Unbelievable.
And the right lane, she's been light. This is now the 3rd time in a row. She left a bucket, chopped it, then left a 2, 4, 5, barely
got it, yes. Yeah. I think her reaction was, ay, 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 ay.
That was it, exactly. You do her well. Oh, 7-pin going down at the last second.
Well, Kim's arm swing is so loose. Those are the shots you get away with when you have a loose, confident arm swing right there. Perfect example.
And a lot of that comes from what we talked about, accepting what's happening. Going forward with it. Please. Oh, my. Just has not had good luck with that combination. Well, that's one of the ones I know I never wanted to shoot. Bucket with the 7. Oof.
That's a spare where you try to line up for it, but 9 times out of 10, you're either going to leave the 7-pin or the 5-pin. It's a tricky spare.
So Macpherson now in the lead by 17 over Terrell and by 23 over Dorin Ballard.
And yet has only thrown 2 strikes.
She can increase that by 10 for both. If she strikes here, she's on a strike and light on the right lane. You're starting to see a pattern develop here. Kim Terrell just 2-4-8-10 on the right. Carolyn's been light 3 times, although Wendy has been, until this shot, in the pocket. That one's not getting back, and a break to kick out the 10-pin.
That one looked like she got it a little firm, threw it a little too hard. Ball speed was crucial this week. You had to get the ball right, but soft in order for it to recover.
Wendy covered up that spare.
Carolyn comes out of it great, but you can see how firm she was at the release. There's just too much conditioner on the lane. Takes it way out to the right and barely comes back. She got the break, you're right, by getting rid of the 10-pin to only leave the 2-pin instead of a 2-10.
There's those broken records we talked about, the 18 TV shows, the number of games bowled.
985 games. Could you imagine?
Yeah. No. That's, you know, and when people say that it doesn't take conditioning or an athlete to do this sport, it always amazes me. Because at this level, it does every bit as much as anything else.
And people don't understand, but just as much mentally as it does physically. You have to show up. You have to stand up to the plate every single week mentally.
You do, and I looked at this as, you know, in golf, in a professional tournament, they play 4 rounds, take about 70 shots around. That's 280 executions. In bowling, it's about 672 plus the show. So they execute about over 700 times if they make the TV show with a 15-pound ball for most cases. So these ladies definitely are in shape.
So that's why I'm so sore.
That's it. Meanwhile, Wendy up in the 7th frame. No double yet. No double for anyone.
Wendy definitely has the best reaction. And you can see Wendy is usually a very aggressive bowler. She's still throwing the ball aggressive, but she's soft with it. A lot softer than she normally is. And that's why she probably has the best reaction.
No really high games this week. 268 high for Kim Terrell. No 300 shot this week. Carolyn Dorin Ballard recently signed on as the spokesperson for high school bowling. High school bowling really is becoming very popular in many states, and she's a good representative for that. And obviously, they can try to emulate her and eventually get to that position.
Absolutely. It's very important to get the kids while they're young and thinking about it.
Come on.
Oh, excellent shot on the right lane. Finally, a nice pocket shot, but leaves solid 10.
Did you just hear? She just said, how much tighter did this lane get? So obviously, from practice till now, they're experiencing some change on lane 32.
That's also the difference in the oils that we use and the surface that we use them on, depending on how the lanes will eventually get tighter as you play on them.
So they followed that up to let everyone know that Kim Terrell, spokesperson for College Bowling USA. So we have all of junior bowling and progressive bowling to adult represented here.
We have everybody covered.
Covers that spare, and I'll tell you, it's not, the scores aren't really good here this match, but Wendy's been keeping it clean, and so far that's enough.
Well, you know, Wendy said her strength all week was consistency, and she won matches. She never bowled any really high games, but she made her spares, and she just stayed extremely consistent. But that's always been Wendy.
Interesting, she said her weakness was she didn't double when she needed it in that last round. No doubles yet, but she may not need one here.
Exactly.
Look at our millionaires, and there it is. There's the double.
And there's the soft speed, especially on the right lane, because the right lane is obviously tighter. She doesn't overly aggressively throw the ball because she's allowing the lane to bring it in. Very important on the sport condition. Ball speed and spares. Very, very important.
So Carolyn now down by 34. Kim Terrell down by 27.
Well, that was a handful there.
That was a shot that she had to have.
Yes.
Had to set up in the 9th. Kim Terrell, big shot here for her. She struck in the 8th. She's working on a strike here. Trails by 27. She can cut it to 17 with one more strike. Can give herself a chance. Slow messenger, but not going to make it. So Wendy just needs to try to keep the ball in play here the next couple of frames. Wendy had a good year after all those player and bowl of the years. 3rd, 4th, and 3rd in points earnings average. Not up to the caliber she was, but I mean, the competition is getting so tough here on tour.
It's unbelievable.
Kim spares it up, but that last strike really put the nails in the coffin. Wendy Macpherson is the winner. When we come back, she'll challenge last week's runner-up, Kim Adler, in the semifinal match. Final score in match 1, Macpherson 237 to Dorin Ballard's 181 and Terrell's 170. We're in the semifinal match. Wendy just started, threw her first shot, went high, left the 3-6. Wendy Macpherson versus Kim Adler. Good way to start with a spare, and she was just keeping it clean last game till the end and then came on strong to shoot that 237.
Kim has actually beat Wendy 8 times when they faced. Wendy only 2 wins.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
That is. Ooh, going high. Now she's playing a different line.
Kim is playing way right, which at times during the week I've seen her move a little right, but most of the time during the week everybody had to be in because that's just the way the lanes played. That's a lot further right than I've seen anybody play all week.
Yeah, she's even right of where she was. Last night she made that move right for the final 5 games, and it proved to be a great move.
Did it ever?
Oh,
wow.
my. But she's farther right than that right now. She was kind of searching in her practice shots.
But Kim trusts herself to try further right to see what it is.
There's a look at her move that Kim Adler made last night. The first 3 games, you see she was playing further left. She averaged 182 those first 3 games. Then she moved it right, and she averaged 241 for the last 5 games. That's how huge something like that can be. 59 pins a game. When you add up the wins with that, it made a difference of over 400 pins for her. Would have put her from 2nd to 15th if she didn't make that move.
And Kim has always been a clutch bowler. I can't tell you how many shows she's made over the years coming through in the last round of match play to go on to win the tournament. She's tough.
She just made a bit of a move there. She said she's back to classic, classic Kim Adler, as you mentioned, what she had always done.
Great form on Kim, always had. You can see how far she moved in. I think she switched balls also.
Yeah, made a big move after one frame.
Awesome shot.
So she must have been in the position. She didn't know which way she wanted to go. Wendy Macpherson 279 for her high game, and as you mentioned last game, she was very consistent and very happy with that consistency. There's our mini score, all even, sponsored by Travelodge Hotels.
I re-racked for that.
Yeah, well, if you re-rack and you leave a solid 9, it's kind of frustrating.
And you almost know you're going to do it, but when you look at the rack and you're not comfortable with it, just to ease your mind, you have to punch the button.
You do.
You have to.
You do, because otherwise, if you get up there and leave that 9 pin, you just doubt yourself.
It's almost a lose-lose either way, unless you strike.
Exactly. But she covered it up. She left a 9 pin last game on that lane, too.
Wendy's got a great shot. I don't think that's going to hold her back. She's too lined in and too loose. And Wendy's a competitor. She's here to win.
95 career TV appearances.
Now 202.8 doesn't look like a high average, but it is for 95 TV shows.
It certainly is. That's a lot of games bowled under TV pressure and lights.
Different conditions, different surfaces. A lot goes into those 95 shows in that 202 average.
So this reminiscent of the opening frames of the first match for Wendy Macpherson, where she couldn't carry. But again, as every top professional usually does, she found a way late in the match.
And very important on the sport condition, just stay with it. Don't try to do anything strange with your moves. Eventually the strike should come, but just cover your spares.
So Adler now in the lead by 2. She can take it to 12 with a strike here. Kim had credited Pete Couture for him talking to her about making some changes in terms of her mental outlook. So there's a lot of mental type of game playing going on, a lot of strategy going on with these players. She went, now she's playing 2 different lines. She's playing both lanes completely different. Because she just moved, you know, she threw that one from the right.
And it hooked instantly.
It did. So we did see a pattern developing with the 2 lanes being very different, the right lane being a lot tighter last game. She averaged 222 on this pair. And Kim talked to us earlier about the good things that she feels are coming her way.
Well, I think I really came out this year and changed my mindset slightly. I've always been kind of a fighter and a pusher, trying to make things happen instead of just allowing things to happen. And a lot of times when you push yourself in the wrong direction, your real path really doesn't come forward to you. And I think now that I've kind of relaxed and allowed things to happen, good things are coming towards me now, and I believe in that.
And she's the only one who has to believe in that to make it work, and gets a big break on that shot. And that was the thing I mentioned that Pete Couture talked to her about, and she used the analogy last night, it was interesting, of a tree in a tornado, how if it's flexible, it'll bend and survive, but
yes,
if it's not, it's going to break.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Wendy Macpherson back up in the 4th frame, trailing by 2. Still looking to get her strikes going this game. There it is.
Wendy's just floating that ball to the right and allowing the lane to bring it into the pocket.
So now looking for her first double of this match. She trails by 2. She can take over the lead with a strike here. And high. So she was high in the first frame on that lane, hit the pocket, leaving the 10-pin in the 3rd frame, and now high again.
And this is what we call the transition, where you can be lined in 1 minute, and then it just jumps on you the next. That's why sparing is crucial. You won't see many missed spares from these ladies.
So Kim Adler in the lead right now. But as we had to break, we paused to remember 2 beloved friends of the bowling community that we lost since our last season. Barbara Light Bowers, a teacher and a PWBA champion of the 1987 Metroplex Open. Barbara will be remembered as a talented bowler, but more importantly, as a friend and a mentor. And Wyatt Slaughter, PWBA tournament director for the past 2 seasons, will remember Wyatt for his constant smile, his willingness to befriend everyone, and his passion to live each day to its fullest. Wyatt passed while awaiting a donor heart, so please consider giving the gift of life. Our prayers go out to both families. We're back in the semifinal match. Wendy Macpherson now up in the 6th frame. She's working on a spare, and she now has the lead. Kim Adler, while we were away, light on the right lane, or actually high in the right lane, excuse me, leaving a 6-9-10, sparing it, and then light on the left lane where she had struck twice, leaving a bucket and chopping it. So Wendy Macpherson now in the lead by 13 pins. She can take it to 23 with a strike right here in the 7th frame.
Nobody yet has had as good a reaction as Wendy. If she could just stay clean, I don't see her having a problem at all. Unfortunately, Kim is very lost.
And it appeared just lost on the right lane, but now after that last shot, you know, she lost the other lane also, and Wendy's still struggling a little bit on that left lane. So it seems like each player has one lane or the other. Nobody able to line up both. Wendy, 47 consecutive cashes. It's the second longest active streak behind Carolyn, Dorin, Ballard, who has 74. Oh my.
Now that's not like her at all.
Just talked about it, staying clean. Definitely not something you'll ever, almost ever see Wendy do in a television match.
Now, if Kim was going to attempt to get lined in, this would be it.
This is it, because
big opportunity here.
She only trails by 1 right now. And a move left on the right lane. Boy, she has been all over. And I'll tell you, Kathy, that is not easy at any time, but on a TV show in a one-game match, it's so hard to be confident, make that move and trust yourself.
And she definitely trusted herself here. She couldn't have thrown that any better. Gutsy move. But that's what it takes to get to the TV show. You have to bowl with guts and confidence, and that's exactly what Kim has.
So she trails by 1, but if she strikes on this ball, Kim Adler will have the lead. Kim Adler now in the lead. We'll return in a moment to find out who will advance to that championship match. Stay with us. We're back at Shore Lanes, St. Clair Shores, Michigan, and we're in the semifinal match. Wendy Macpherson now trailing by 9. She missed a 10-pin in the 7th frame. Right back on it, though. This is going to be a strong finish.
Well, you said earlier, and Wendy told us last night, that she didn't close out matches when she had the chance, and I guarantee you she's thinking of that, saying to herself, I'm not going to let that happen again, especially tonight.
There's a maximum score. Wendy Macpherson could strike out for 216. Meanwhile, Kim Adler could strike out for 225. And they can go back and forth right here. If Wendy strikes, she takes the lead right back from Kim Adler.
Again, high on the left lane.
She has not, boy, she had that so lined up last game, and now this lane has obviously changed a lot for her.
She's getting it out onto the lane fine, but it just seems it's catching quicker down the lane than it is on the right lane.
Spare maker. Arrow shows you right where the ball should go. That's how you want to do it, right, Kath?
Yeah, you just want to visualize you actually have the 3-6-10. And she made it with no problem.
Could prove to be an important spare. Right now, a big shot in the 9th frame for Kim Adler, just lined up.
Kim does a lot with her hand, too. She changes her hand positions, her releases. I guarantee you she has it all working right about now.
You saw her shift her position. She's been keeping the ball in tighter to her body, more
keeping
contact.
Her arm, yes, keeping her arm swing very tight.
Oh, and what a shot. She was a little high that last frame on that move, and she made an adjustment there.
Picture perfect. Gets it onto the lane, not too overly aggressive. Allows it to roll right up. Doesn't jerk. You can see it doesn't really snap into the pins. It just rolls into the pins.
So she leads by 19. The best Wendy Macpherson could shoot here would be 196. So Kim Adler will need a mark in the 10th frame in order to shut out Wendy Macpherson.
And a mark on this is not easy.
No, we've seen that too many times already. And oh my. And now it even rocked. It looked like it spread the 7-pin a little. The rule on that is if the pins from your shot move it, we can watch her if it did, it cannot be respotted. If the rack moves it, then it can be respotted.
And that was not a bad physical shot at all. This is just another example of the sport condition transition. and you just have to go with it and hope you don't leave anything funky, which this, unfortunately, is funky. This is hard on a regular condition, a house condition. Not an easy spare.
Definitely not. Has to have it to shut her out, and some pin count. Oh, and she gets a kick back.
I would take a deep breath.
She's looking over at the scoreboard, see what she needs. She needs 6 pins, I'm told, by Leanne Barrett, our scorekeeper here.
As we said, this is a tricky spare. You either leave the 7 pin or the 5 pin. If you don't hit it right, and there you could see the 7 got taken out. Actually, great shot.
6 pins right here, and Kim Adler will move on. Down the middle, and 9 is enough. So Kim Adler will advance. But right now, where you should go for bowling information in this week's WIBC Extra Frames. Bowl.com is the official site for bowling on the internet. With a focus on education, entertainment, community, and interactivity, Bowl.com covers WIBC and the sport with news and information, industry links, and more. Bowl.com went active in 1999 as a joint venture of the WIBC, ABC, YABA, and BPAA. Since its inception, viewing has increased almost 700%. Currently receiving an average of 406,000 visits per month with over 2.3 million impressions. One of the major advantages of Bowl.com is that it keeps WIBC local and state association leaders and members informed about WIBC activities and programs on a near daily basis. In addition, it provides associations and members with e-business applications allowing processing via electronic submission. Some of Bowl.com's most popular features are posted league standings and tournament results. With the WIBC tournament in full swing, one of the favorite links is the one to WIBCtournament.com. With a couple of clicks, you can find current information and results from the WIBC Championship Tournament, Queens, and Senior Queens tournaments, as well as merchandise selection, feature stories on players and teams, even Sub Central. Yes, a place to find a substitute for your tournament team. So if you haven't visited yet, be sure to check out Bowl.com and WIBCtournament.com for the most comprehensive, up-to-date information in the bowling world. There is Libby Fletcher, new WIBC tournament or WIBC director, on hand at this tournament. Final score of the semifinal match, Kim Adler 200 to Macpherson's 196. So coming up next, Kim Adler will take on Twister's sister, Michelle Feldman, in the championship match. There's a look at the beautiful trophy that Kim Adler and Michelle Feldman will be fighting for at the St. Clair Shores Classic. We're at Shore Lanes. I'm Jan Schmidt along with Kathy, Dorin, Lizzie. Kim Adler survived that second match. She defeated Macpherson 200 to 196. Boy, was it a close one.
Yeah, Kim definitely came through in the end, and she needed to. Very impressive.
So Kim looking to jump back on. She had an 8-year streak with at least 1 win. She broke that streak last year, 1 year shy of the record that Lisa Wagner holds. She wants to set it straight early that she's back on track for winning.
Well, she went high on the left lane to open this match, but she switched balls. She changed balls. But she's still playing the same line, so it'll be interesting to see what this ball is going to do different for her, especially after the way she finished the last match. But Kim's always thinking.
Yeah, oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
It's nonstop with her.
Well, the 9-10, a little bit of an unusual lead, but she want to just fit it between.
Switches balls to a plastic ball.
Nice shot, and I tell you what, this week, I've seen more smiles from Kim Adler than I've seen in the last 5 years. She's actually says she's enjoying bowling again.
And that's so important. You have to enjoy it.
Okay, here's the powerhouse, Michelle Feldman.
Try to count how many times this ball turns.
And it's a good thing she's backing off.
think she flattened that one out, Jan.
Yeah, a little bit of smiles for her also.
Well, Michelle always feels that the morning blocks are toughest for her because the condition seems to be wet-dry. 3 girls have already bowled. 4 girls have already bowled. So this is almost like the second or third game for her. So she's probably going to have a nice look.
Oh, and the 10 pin still standing. And this is some of the stuff we talked about, how, you know, she would normally want a ball that she even saw it go more left through the pins. And she's had to accept, hey, a little different look. Maybe the ball will back off a little bit.
She drilled the ball that she switched to last night and took over the lead of this tournament is to roll and stop, which is very important to know when to throw a ball that does that. But that's not a good thing to miss the easy spare.
No, it's not.
You can see she just flattens out her strike ball, but didn't quite flatten it out or throw it hard enough because you can see it rolled and hooked right away.
Michelle had said that was one of her weaknesses this week. She missed too many spares.
Yes.
And our ladies will be bowling with the college bowlers as the best women bowlers in the collegiate and professional ranks come together June 2nd as the PWBA Women's Collegiate Pro Doubles Challenge is televised live at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. That kicks off a string of 5 consecutive Sundays of the PWBA live on ESPN, so be sure to watch the best in women's bowling on Sunday afternoons, and that's beginning June 2nd. Talked about that streak being broken, her last title in 2000.
Which will be at the bowling center we will be at next week. So maybe she's going to start a week early.
She finished 8th here last year, so this is an improvement. She's really focused this year. She's really changed her whole outlook, another mental type of change in the game, where she was so into so many other things, her jewelry line, Kimbo Creations, and doing a lot while she bowled. And this year, she was told me last week and a little bit last night how she's just focusing on bowling only.
And she took 3 months off. We had 5 months off. She took 3 of those off. Never entered a bowling center, never kept score. She didn't even bowl league. Sometimes you need to totally get away from it to come back more refreshed. Obviously, it worked.
So this, you know what Michelle's done this week, Kathy, let's talk about it real quickly a little bit. I mean, that's a good lesson to some people at home. I mean, you drill them a ball or they get a ball and it doesn't hook as much as they want to see it hook, and they throw it aside. But there are times that's what you need.
Yeah, not every week do you want to see your ball always make a left-hand turn. Now, the majority of women need that because we don't have as much power. But there's going to be plenty of times where Michelle's actually going to need the ball to roll out or lay off. It appears her ball always goes left, but that's because she's so powerful. But actually, the ball that she drilled to get her to the show lays off.
And she said it was Alita Sill that helped convince her, said, hey, you need a new look. And she didn't mean her hairdo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Alita's an excellent coach. She has a great eye, and she can pick up on things like that very easily. Look at the power in that release. You can't even count how many times that ball turns. It just dives right into the pocket. Unfortunately, 4-9, but she has so much power.
Oh, and a good attempt at that. So 2 open frames on lane 31, but 2 strikes on lane 32. Michelle Feldman will get a test mentally to see if she can stay in it and pull herself together. Kim Adler now in the lead.
Kim's only 1 in 3 against Michelle. Not a very good shot on lane 32 for Kim. It was left off her hand. She never even got it right. She needed to get it right a little earlier. Came up high. Luckily, only left the 6-pin. Easy spare. You can see, very important, Kim switching to a plastic ball.
Covers it up. It was a close race. Kelly Kulik needed a double to get in around Wendy Macpherson, left a 10-pin, and any of the top 10 could have easily gotten in within 100 pins of the show.
And there in 11th, Tammy Turner. Keep your eyes on this young lady. Tammy's looking really good. And 15th, Karen Stroud. Karen is going to break through at any moment. What a great game.
It was so close in position round. I mean, between Kulik, Gaines, Barrett, Honeychurch, Dugan, any one of them with a big game could have hopped right into the show. It's so exciting to watch. You have to come out to the events and see that. The position round is great. So light for Kim Adler, 2-8. It just hasn't been a day of a lot of strikes, and this is what has been something that actually Michelle has worked on trying to accept. Grind out those games when you don't have it and take advantage of the big games like she always does.
Yeah, I mean, she's a strike player. She had to mentally adjust her thinking that it's not always going to be about the big strike ball. Staying clean is going to win this tournament.
And wow.
And that is definitely not the way.
But she only has one open, so Kim Adler is still in the lead, but it's anyone's match. Stay with us to see who claims victory. We're back in the championship match of the St. Clair Shores Classic. While we were away, actually everyone struck. Feldman 2 strikes, Adler 1 strike. Adler in the lead now by 2 pins, can take it to 12 if she strikes here in the 7th. And light, 2-8 combination again, which she missed the last time up on lane 31.
It looked like a good shot off her hand, nice and clean. She definitely got it right. She had been going high previously, and now the 2-4-8, which you're right, she just missed the 2-8 the frame before on that lane. So interesting to see how she's going to shoot this.
Now Kim was runner-up last week. She told us though she wasn't disappointed because she trusted herself. She made the moves she needed to make. They just didn't work out.
Which is still an awesome thing for a champion to say. It didn't work, but I had the guts to try it anyway and feel good about it. I think that's why she's a 12-time champion.
Exactly.
I mean, it's that type of thinking that will continue her success, without a doubt. Trust is a must or your game is a bust, without a doubt.
Once again, we are bowling on WBC ABC Sport Condition, and Michelle Feldman talked to us at length last night about that. Told us how much of a better bowler she is as a result of the sport condition. It's made her a very versatile player, and she's opened herself up to new ideas in bowling, and she told us all about that.
I think in the long run, it's maybe better a bowler the last few years. Watching Carolyn and Tammy, especially Tammy this week, I would never have thought to move in at times, and just watching her play the lanes, I'm thinking, I can do that. I can play where Tammy is. You know, why don't I try it? I never did that before. I never learned to play out until the last few years. It's just different things that I think I need to learn, and I did it the last couple of years, and I bowled better, and I'm glad I did it.
She's very glad she did it as she throws her 4 strike in a row and runs it out.
Boy, have we seen that young lady mature.
Yes, and it's the acceptance of what she just said, the acceptance that she's willing to do that. It took her actually a long time, but let's not forget, she's still very young. Even though she's been on tour, it seems like forever. She's only 26 years old.
Easier said than done to trust out here.
Max score for Feldman, 234, Adler 216. That's if they strike off the sheet. Kim Adler now in the 8th, working on a spare. Big strike for Kim Adler. 17th position this week. Dorin Lizzie made a huge run just to make the cut. very talented athlete from Finland, Paulina Aalto, finishing up in 19th. Marcia Kamrowski, watch out for her. She's working very hard.
And 21st, our Iron woman, Tish Johnson. She snuck in there. She qualified 24th. And our alternate, which we don't, Cindy Coburn Carroll, bowled great this week and last week at the Queens.
Yes, and we glad to have Cindy back out. You know, she's been doing the motherhood thing a lot, just bowls intermittently, and still very competitive.
Absolutely. I admire that. That's a good one. As soon as she let it go, and she knows it.
She's like, oh my God, finally. I mean, she hadn't had more than an 8 count on the left lane throughout this entire match.
This was picture perfect. As soon as she let it go, I knew it was going to be 10 in the pit. She was so crisp and clean at the release. That was perfect. And it couldn't have come at a better time. Did she like it? Absolutely.
That was more than life.
But Michelle is not going to let up.
She's not. She's getting it done. She said, I led this tournament. It is mine, and I'm taking it.
It's not over yet, though. You know it's TV, Janet. It always comes down to the
Okay,
wire.
All right. Well, actually, I think she'll need the first strike here to shut out Kim Adler. Because Kim Adler could still shoot 216.
If Michelle 9 spare strikes, it's 213. Big shot right here for Michelle.
Oh, and high, and says, okay, it's something that I can make. Quick look at Gary Feldman looking on. Grandpa came out for the
Now,
show.
it's hard to see anything different, but you can tell she might have just been a little grabby. She grabbed it a little bit, but hey, a title's on the line. She worked hard, mentally and physically,
Sure.
to get here.
Yeah.
It's natural. We're not machines. Very natural.
And some people slow up a little too, some speed up under
Yes,
the pressure.
but she covered the spare. Very, very important.
Extremely.
Now, Michelle doesn't switch to a plastic ball, but she compensates for the plastic ball because of her speed. She's also very good at throwing it straight. Or straighter for her.
Yeah, exactly.
That's her grandfather, Gary, over, well, our left shoulder of her. He's the one taking deep breaths. Now that was pure. Much better.
Nice shot. Final score 211 for Michelle Feldman. Kim Adler is going to need 2 strikes. She's going to step up like she did last week, and she's going to have to double to win. 2 strikes and 6 pins. She was happy with her choice last week. She did what she needed to do, and that's all you can do. Have the confidence in your shot.
Yes. If you can leave saying I did everything I could, you can sleep that night.
She struck 3 out of 4 in this lane this game. Make it 4 out of 5.
Kim is not one to ever go down easy. She is going to give you 150%. Another great shot. Floats it right at the right speed. Break point at the right spot.
I think
Perfect.
she's just given us a clinic on how many different areas of the lane you can play.
She's been all over the place. This is why we bring more than 20 balls, too. Everybody thinks you bring 4 balls. This is why we have 20.
Michelle can only sit and wait. Kim Adler needs this strike and 6 pins. And it goes high, so it's not to be for Kim Adler. Michelle Feldman going, okay, is it right? Gary Feldman, yeah, I think so.
Grandma's at home.
So Kim Adler will be runner-up again, 2 weeks in a row. Michelle Feldman captures title number 9. You said she might do it, Kathy. She did.
Absolutely,
We'll
she
be
did.
right back with more. Don't go away. There's your champion of the St. Clair Shores Classic. Final score 211 to 204. David Roth, proprietor here at Shore Lanes, with the check and the trophy.
Michelle, you're both great. You're both tremendous. Coming back in match play, you're a true champion. I hope to see you back next year to defend your title.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody here at Shore Lanes, David, WIBC, Travelodge, Ebonite, and to all my friends who support me throughout the years. And I'd like to say we're going to miss Alita. She's retiring, and we're going to miss her. So hope everything's well with her for the rest of the years.
Congratulations, Michelle. I know Alita instrumental in your win. Michelle Feldman jumps off to a quick start here in 2002. Tune in next Thursday, May 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern as Liz Johnson looks to defend at the St. Clair Classic from St. Clair Bowl in Fairview Heights, Illinois. For Kathy, Dorin, Lizzie, I'm Jan Schmidt saying so long from St. Clair Shores, Michigan. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.